So I know God is opening up these doors to be part of the end time movement. And that's what I want to call it. There are thousands and thousands of Asians that are ready to do anything and die for Christ. And I want to tap into that. I don't know that I'm where they are, and I want to get where they are and get to that place. All that matters is spreading the kingdom and get to the ends of the earth so that you'll return.
And I know that we go to Japan, right, and we have Jacob and Sancho in Japan, right, and so we're working on things with Japan. And you have told the dream. I know you've told it here. I know you tell it in Japan about your the Rim of Fire.
Right.
And I guess what I want to do is kind of talk again about your vision of why Asia is important,
that's right,
and what it's ultimately leading to, and why we feel the burden to. Well, one, because the Lord said, but really why we see where it's going.
Good.
And I want you to talk about that a little bit.
Thank you for that opportunity. And it's one of my favorite topics right now because the prophetic is very clear right now. There's a great book out there by Peter Sukara. I recommend everybody read it. It's called
Tsunami.
Right? Yeah, the great tsunami of the kingdom. He talks about that. And he's a theologian and just studied church history. That's his big thing. And he saw how when the gospel came to Israel, it went to Asia Minor, but it went to Europe and went west pretty much for the most part. And the last move will be the east. And Israel is considered the east as well, a part of the Middle East. And it makes sense. The first shall be last. Mm-hmm. And they were the first to get the gospel. They're going to be the last to receive it again as the movement of the Spirit. And he documents that all in his book, does a great job of doing that. Anyway, but we had numerous prophetic voices come in the house, Pastor Eduardo Pena from Colombia, Ira Milligan, and others. Mm-hmm. And they gave this word about Asia. And of course, my son, Jacob, and his wife, Sachi, were in Japan, and we work with Chuck Pierce had given him a word way back when. It was a word out of Christian Center Shreveport in Louisiana that a move of God would start here and go all the way to Tokyo, go to Asia, Japan, and go all over Asia. And he gave that word on Jacob's birthday when Jacob was in the audience. And then I walked up to him and I said, "Hey, this is my son. You can't believe he's been called to this." And he started prophesying over Jacob, and he started naming all these other Asian nations that he would go to, that God would use him and expand our ministry to Asia. So this is a little longer word than just recently we've been working on. And I believe with the movement in Asia right now is what's happening is that they have a heart for the gospel. They have a heart for spreading the kingdom. That's their passion right now. Their heart is to go all the way from Asia to Israel. That's their ultimate goal. They go all the way to Jerusalem. They call it the Jerusalem movement. And many of them are selling themselves into slavery in the Middle East. Mm. They're selling themselves to Dubai and places like that. And they're working as slaves in order to spread the gospel in the Middle East. I haven't seen that since the Moravians. Yeah. That's how long that type of movement has been missing in the kingdom, where people just said, "My life doesn't matter. I'm going to give for the kingdom." And I want to be a part of this. Yeah. And so we are moving this way. And this last time that we went, if you remember, we went to a city called Kobe.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
And we met a couple ministers there that were really powerful. But we met one ministry that was all over Asia. They're in Taiwan and Korea. They're in China and other places. Well, you don't know this, but I was talking to Jacob yesterday, and he said they're contacting him, and they said, "We want you guys to help us."
Wow.
And they asked him to help their ministry and everything. And I think that's it. I told Jacob, I said, "Look, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that thing that's going to open up all of Asia." Yeah. And that's what my heart is that here at Christian Center and Aleph training people, we'd love to have a training base in Asia where we're starting to train people, indigenous people especially, to go do the work and the ministry there. We have a special call, what we're called to do here in this ministry, the prophetic, the teaching, the equipping, all the different things we do. And I want to take it all the way. And we've had to learn, you and I have had to learn, we can't force the Western culture upon them, right?
So you have to become Eastern.
You have to become Eastern. And so we've had to learn that. Yeah. I had a prophetic dream that the next time we go, we're going to see one of the greatest harvests we've seen.
Amen.
And each time we go, we've been seeing an increase. And I believe that. And I believe those were two key contacts that we made this last time.
Absolutely.
And I believe God's going to open the doors. I've been asked to go to China next year, et cetera. So I know God is opening up these doors to be part of the end time movement, and that's what I want to call it. There are thousands and thousands of Asians that are ready to do anything and die for Christ. And I want to tap into that. I don't know that I'm where they are, and I want to get where they are and get to that place that God, all that matters is spreading the kingdom and get to the ends of the earth so that you'll return. He said, I'm not coming back till the gospel of the kingdom spread to the ends of the earth. Well, the Middle East and Israel are the last two places. We used to have the 1040 window, and then we had the 3070 window. We had all these different movements, and they've all come about where the gospel is spread. My dream was that there'd be natural disasters that would open those nations for harvest. And when we prophesied that from Japan, then the earthquake hit Myanmar and Thailand. And Myanmar has been a closed nation because of the military coup that they had. And because of the disaster, Christian groups are flocking in there right now, and they're beginning to have a chance to share the gospel. Just like I saw in my dream is what was happening. And I think that's something, even if my role is to prophesy it, I still prophesy it. But I really believe that's where we're moving and equipping.
And we've had many discussions about Asia because it is such a just for us a distinct culture.
Yes.
And for me, an apostolic ministry means we don't work necessarily as much with the ground soldiers as we do the leaders.
Yes.
And so for an apostolic ministry is we don't want to send pasty white skinned English speaking people over there or whoever to be the ground people. We want to go work with the locals. And so the amazing thing that every time we've gone and Camila got the privilege of going with us this time, she's like, oh my gosh, contact after contact after contact. She goes, is this what it's like? I said, no, usually we're seeing castles and tourism and praying over stuff. I said, but the gates are opening, the floodgates are opening, and the contacts and the connections are coming. And there our influence with the leaders are growing, and then the leaders are going to be influencing those under them. And if you look at Paul's ministry and apostolic ministry, they work with the leaders of the church who then work with the church people. And so our ministry, it looks a little different, and you try to package your mind around what it looks like. I don't know. The Lord knows, and we'll figure it out eventually. But it's exciting because there's such a and even it's crazy because even theologians are saying this now. The West has been the hub, mainly the U.S., has been the theological hub for the last couple centuries, and the main sender of missionaries. But it's starting to shift to the East.
It is.
And that's where we're going with the move. We're just flowing with the Spirit to the East so that the generations can connect, and what we've learned and what we've grown in the West, we can bring with us and hopefully transmit it to this next generation of believers who don't have to start from scratch, but they can start with what we've been given, build on it, and run with it until ultimately, as you're saying, it's going back to the Middle East.
That's right.
And it's amazing right now how all the moves of God are just encircling Israel.
That's right.
From the Muslims to all these people groups who are having encounters with the Lord. And it's like just building this whole thing around them until I think you're right. The people, the Jewish people are gonna. My prayer is that just like the Muslims, the Jewish people start having dreams of their Jewish Messiah
and their love. And being in Israel, I found this for whatever they don't have any understanding why they love Asian people. They don't feel threatened by them. They don't feel like they're there to convert them or anything. They just embrace them. And so Asians have this incredible favor, and they have a favor in the Middle East as well, because they're not like Americans, like you said, Westerners, who's been fighting them, dividing up their land all these years. These are people that are, in a sense, like them, because we don't want to forget, Israel is really considered part of the East.
Oh yeah,
and Asia Minor. When you talk about when Paul would go to those places, so they actually have a culture, and I think they understand. They think a lot alike as well. When we look at like the book of Revelation, John had an Oriental mindset. He didn't literally speak about, when you read the book of Revelation, if you don't see it from an Oriental mindset of how it's a revelation of Jesus, and it's this moving parts, like a museum that moves around and everything, then you're not going to understand it, because we're trying to think, okay, well that thing
chronologically.
You were chronologically, and okay, this is the scorpion is a helicopter, and it's you're trying to put all these Western mindsets, and I think that's why there's going to be an affinity of the Jews and the Middle Eastern, even the Arabs and the Persians, who are going to embrace it from Asia because they think a way, they process the same way, and when their thought process is that way, then they're going to be able to embrace it. Iran is the greatest move of God from what we're hearing, and all the studies are showing that between China and Iran are the two greatest moves of God in the world right now. So I think we want to be a part of that. I don't want to miss this time.
I don't either. I mean, they're happening behind closed doors, kind of. They're very cautious. But I mean, when you hear the stories coming out of there, and the statistics are saying that there are more mosques shutting down in Iran than there are open right now.
That's right.
I mean, you got to be saying, what in the world is going on? I mean, it's on the. When I say the world, we were in exciting times. We're in exciting times. I mean, we didn't talk about a fraction of things globally, but I just love also how John. I remember a couple years ago when we took a trip to do the prophetic conference in Colombia, and he had an encounter and saw Colombia connecting to the Middle East and all of those things, and how it's like the Lord's the people who are tuning in to listen to the Spirit of God are all looking now towards the East and Asia.
So I think we've come full circle in our conversation today. We started world events, and we started with Israel Central, and we've ended with Central Israel, because everything's going to come back. The culmination of that, He's returning to Israel. We know that. So I think that's where we are. Chuck Pierce. I'll say one more thing, and we can close. But Chuck Pierce said, as you said it very clearly, the West has always been the central part of Christianity worldwide. He said he believes in these days ahead that Asia will be the center of Christianity.
Oh, absolutely.
And he believes there's going to be a transformation in China where the government's going to change, and there's going to be an openness to the kingdom and everything, and that they will be the hub of Christianity in the world. They have the most Christians by far already, so it makes sense. I'm talking about true Christians. We may have numbers.
We're cultural Christians.
But they actually have people that are giving their lives for it. And when that martyr blood, that passion is honored by the Father. And I think that's where their favor is going to come from. And I want to be a part of that.
Absolutely.
I don't want to miss the next move of God.